What's good, YouTubers and YouTubettes? This is JB Sports back again with another one. Michael Coppinger from The Athletic is reporting that Josh Taylor has signed a multi-fight deal with Top Rank Boxing. Quite a coup for Bob Arum. Many people assumed that Josh Taylor, me including, thought Josh Taylor was signed with Eddie Hearn in Matchroom Boxing, coming off of his best performance in his pro career in beating another champion at welterweight in Regis Prograis. That was his best win on his resume, man. That was a fight that went into it, was a true 50-50 fight. Regis Prograis versus Josh Taylor. It took place at the O2 Arena in London. A very close and competitive fight, a lot of close rounds, but I did think the right man won in Josh Taylor. I thought he was just a little bit more aggressive in that fight, let his hands go a little bit more, and I thought he kind of bullied Regis Prograis at times. And that fight taking place in the O2 Arena in the UK, basically a home fight for Josh Taylor, even though he's from Scotland. It was basically a home fight for him, as 95% of the fans were pulling for Josh Taylor. So he had a good performance in that fight, taking that away from a man. He fought another champion in a 50-50 fight, and he put on a good performance. And he signed with Top Rank, one of the well-known boxing promotions in the United States. And it's an L, man. It's an L that Eddie Hearn is taking. He's taking an L in this situation. That's not sugarcoat this. Eddie Hearn was trying to sign Josh Taylor. He wanted to sign him to Matchroom Boxing, and maybe that could have been a future opponent for Mikey Garcia, a guy that he just signed a month ago. So that kind of put a monkey wrench in those potential plans. So again, Josh Taylor has signed with Top Rank Boxing, man, Bob Arum, and this is going to set up a future matchup with Jose Ramirez, who holds the WBC and the WBO title, and Josh Taylor holds the IBF and WBA titles. Now, I think his first fight is going to probably be, he probably takes care of his mandatory, opponents, he's got in those two sanctioning bodies. I think he's got Alberto Prelo. I think that's probably going to be his next fight, man. This guy's out of Dominican Republic. He's #1 in the WBA. As you know, Bob Arum likes to tap into the Latino fan base, so that could be a fight that they can sell on ESPN. And then he's got another in his other sanctioning body is the IBF. That's the other title that Josh Taylor holds. And the guy name is Apinan Kansong. That guy's out of Thailand, so that could be a potential opponent for him for his next fight. Now, if I had to guess, I think it would probably be Prela, because he's, like I say, he's from the Dominican Republic, and they could tap into the Latino fan base. There's a lot of huge Dominican Republic fan base here in the United States. They could possibly put that fight, in New York, or they could put that fight in L.A. So that could be a possible probable, I ain't gonna say a probable matchup for Josh Taylor next fight, as they look to set up a unification between Josh Taylor and Jose Ramirez. And that could be a fight, and the winner of that could be a future opponent for Terrence Bud Crawford. So that's a good signing by Top Rank Boxing, man. They signed Tyson Fury. They brought him over here to the United States. Has that has gave Tyson Fury's profile a boost. His profile has definitely took a boost over here in the United States since signing with Top Rank. He had fought over here before, Tyson Fury. Before he had signed with Top Rank, he had a couple of fights over here in the United States. He fought USS Cunningham in a fight that had a lot of people excited about, man, as the press conference was epic between Fury and Nazim Richardson and Cunningham, and that kind of set the tone for the fight that took place. I think it was in New York. I think it was Madison Square Garden, or somewhere on the East Coast. That fight took place as Cunningham dropped Tyson Fury. Fury was able to get back up and rally and win that fight. But he's going to try to do the same thing, man, with Josh Taylor, up his profile like he's done in the United States, like he did with Tyson Fury. this has gotta be a disappointment for Eddie Hearn and Matchroom Boxing, man. Eddie Hearn has took an L on this situation, man. You know he wanted to sign Josh Taylor as he was the promoter for the Taylor Pro-Graves unification of matchup. And it was widely assumed that Eddie Hearn would sign Josh Taylor after that fight, after that victorious win. But it didn't take place, as Josh Taylor seen that Eddie Hearn doesn't do a good job of increasing your profile in the United States. He doesn't know the market, number one. He's starting to learn it a little bit better than what he did when he first came in. Thought he was going to take over. Thought he was going to sign all Al Haymon fighters, and he was going to be the next big thing over here in the United States, alongside the great Don King in his heyday and Bob Arum. And it didn't happen like that, man. You got to understand the market, and that's what Top Rank Boxing does. They understand the U.S. markets, man. They understand how to sell to the Latino fan base in particular, and they know how to sell boxing to the general public. So we'll see what happens, man. But Josh Taylor and Jose Ramirez, hopefully that fight will take place, toward the end of 2020. Now, Bob Arum made a mistake in the past, man, when he marinated Gamboa and Lopez. He marinated that fight too long. That fight should have took place. He messed around, and Lopez took a loss to Salido, and that fight never materialized. That was a big fight, a big fight that was going to be a huge fight that had all the hardcore boxing fans excited about that fight, and had a lot of casual fans looking forward to that fight. That fight was going to be a pay-per-view fight that could have probably, if I had to think, that could have probably potentially did at least around 300,000 buys. And that's a successful pay-per-view if it had done 300,000. So that fight never materialized because Top Rank and Bob Arum let it marinate too long. Hopefully they won't make the same mistake with Jose Ramirez and Josh Taylor. Again, I think Josh Taylor's first fight is not going to be Jose Ramirez. It's going to be taking care of his mandatories in the WBA and IBF. And the guys I mentioned earlier, Alberto Prela, I think he's the front runner for Josh Taylor next fight, and then Apanan Kongsong from Thailand is his number one mandatory in the IBF. IBF is real strict about upheld their mandatories. They don't mind. They don't think twice about stripping you of your belt if you don't take care of the mandatory. They don't bend the rules for unification and nothing like that. They pretty strict. They've done that in some cases, but they strict to their rules. They don't have a lot of leniency toward their rules, like say the WBC. So we'll see what happens on that band. But again, Josh Taylor signs a multi-fight deal with Top Rank Boxing. Should be very, very interesting, man. Very interesting, man. See what happens and see what transpires in 2020, man. See what's going on, man. See what's going on, man. It's gonna definitely be an interesting situation, man. And an L for Eddie Hearn. I'm gonna reiterate that, an L for Eddie Hearn. He's taking an L in this situation, man. But a potential Josh Taylor Jose Ramirez fight, that's a true 50-50 fight, man. I hope that fight happens at the end of the year. And ESPN, man, that fight could be potentially a pay-per-view fight. ESPN could put that on pay-per-view. Because they got the UK market that'll come to watch the UK and the UK market that'll come watch Josh Taylor, tune in to see Josh Taylor fight. And you have the Latino market tuning in to see Jose Ramirez. So that definitely is a pay-per-view fight on ESPN at the end of 2020. And like I say, the winner of that could get Terrence Crawford. That's another ESPN pay-per-view fight. So ESPN has got a lot of doors open by this signing of Josh Taylor, man. So we'll see what happens, man. But good signing by Bob Arum, man. Josh Taylor is 16-0. Only had 16 fights, man, but he's been in there with some good competition, man. He's defeated Victor Posto, defeated Ivan Barnesic, defeated, of course, Regis Prograis in his last fight. So he's been in there with some good fighters, man. He's defeated some good fighters in those 16 fights. So his resume is pretty strong, man. It ain't too much, to tell you the truth, it ain't too much daylight between his 16-0 and Lomachenko's 13 and 14-0, whatever Lomachenko's 14-0 or 15-0, I mean 14-1. I'm falling into their ESPN trap where they took this loss off the record when they show Lomachenko top pound for pound in the top pound for pound ranking. They take that loss from Salido off of it. But yeah, he lost that fight. So in his 14 fights, 14-1, I think Lomachenko is, and Josh Taylor 16-0. It's not that too much difference on the resume. But, you know, you got one guy in Lomachenko that's, you know, number 1 or number 2, depending on which pound for pound list you're looking at. He's top 2 in pound for pound. And you got Josh Taylor that, you know, you don't mention his name as far as top pound for pound fighters. But you look at their resumes. Like I said, look at the resume. I'm gonna repeat them again. Josh Taylor, he fought Regis Prograis, Victor Postal, Ivan Barnashik. He's been in there with some top fighters, man. Those, you know, Prograis is better than anybody on Lomachenko's resume. Lomachenko's best win is what? Linares or Gilmore Rungendahl. Gilmore Rungendahl was coming up 2 weight classes, so it's probably, you got to say maybe Linares is probably his best win. Linares or Nicholas Walters. So just put it like this: Linares, Nicholas Walters, and Rungendahl. That's the 3 best wins on Lomachenko's resume. And you look at Josh Taylor, his best wins are Victor Postal, Regis Prograis, and Ivan Barnashik. So those fighters are comparable in my opinion. You know, Lomachenko's fight 3 are more well known to the boxing fans, so that's why he's probably gonna get more credit in that situation, because his fighters are much Nicholas Walters, Rungendahl, and Linares are, you know, more known fighters. They've been around longer, and they're known to the U.S. audience, more well known than Victor Postal and Ivan Barnashik and Regis Prograis. So we'll see, man. We'll see what happens, man. But again, man, Josh Taylor kind of came out of left field. Didn't see this coming, man. And I know Eddie Hearn and Matchroom Boxing didn't see this coming either. They thought they was the leader in the clubhouse as far as signing Regis Prograis. But Top Rank came in there like a thief in the night, stole Josh Taylor. You know, stole Josh Taylor and took him out of the grabs, out of the hands of Matchroom Boxing. You know, they call it the agony of defeat. You know, what they say, you took the victory. The victory was in our grasp, but we took the victory within their grasp and grabbed it, and they took a loss. You know, and that's just what happened, man. So we'll see what happens, man. But that's the breaking news, man, reported by Michael Carpenter of The Athletic. Josh Taylor has signed a multi-fight deal with Top Rank, and his next fight will be on their platform. And the probable fight again will be a mandatory fight, either in the WBA or the IBF. And the front runner that I believe it will be Alberto Prela from the Dominican Republic, and that'll be a showcase fight for Josh Taylor to defend his WBA title. And I think that'll be his next matchup. And then maybe he'll get in the other mandatory with Adnan Khansan of the IBF, take care of that mandatory, and then that'll set up a fight with him and Jose Ramirez at the end of the year, a big unification fight to find out who's the king at 140. It'll be a big pay-per-view fight on ESPN. And they could put that fight probably in Las Vegas or in Madison Square Garden in New York. We'll see what happens. This is JB Sports, the man, the myth, the legend. I holla.